I know you can feel overwhelmed and you can be underwhelmed, but is it possible to just be whelmed? Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. My name's EJ Marino and this is About Last Night, the show where I talk about the movie I saw last night. We are diving into a brand new review of Toy Story 4. Like I said in the beginning, is it possible to just feel whelmed? Is it possible to see a movie and go, that was cool, that was harmless, that was like an easy way to spend less than 2 hours? Because that's what Toy Story 4 did to me. Yes, hot take, like, I don't know what happened to me compared to all the other critics. Actually, I know what it is. My name's EJ and I'm pretty cynical. But yeah, I don't love Toy Story 4. By no means do I think Toy Story 4 is a bad movie. No, in all honesty, the movie is well made, the script is solid, and I like the voice acting a lot. But what it does is it doesn't really give me anything more than just a solid movie. The Toy Story franchise is known for those gut punches, for those emotional rides, for its entertaining journeys with these toys, but this really doesn't give me any of that. I feel like I've seen a lot of the stuff that they're doing in this movie. Yes, Woody's gonna get lost, he's gonna jump out of a car, oh, now we have to find him, we're gonna get separated with Buzz and like Woody, and then oh, we're gonna get back together. There's a lot of the stuff that we've seen in other entries, and then you get to the point that this doesn't feel like a conclusion. This feels like another chapter is being opened in the story. But why? After the beautiful finale that was part 3, I don't understand why we went back to this well again. I know that this is a popular intellectual property. I know that Disney loves to make money, and I'm sure Toy Story 4 is bound to make cash. But in the artistry sense, in the storytelling way, I don't feel like this is a solid way to end this franchise. I don't think this is a powerful entry into this franchise. When these are such a high-end franchise from Disney, I can't say that any of them are bad, and I can't say that this is bad, but I do feel that this is weaker than the rest. I do feel like this was a lot of kind of just going through the motions, going through what we know from a Toy Story, and not really adding anything new. I honestly feel like I don't have much to say about the movie, but I don't think this movie has much to say itself. It does do the message that little kids should treat their toys better and shouldn't have that 2 seconds and then I'm done with you, or if it's marketed a certain way and doesn't really live up to that, you shouldn't hate the toy. There is that little bit of a message there, but overall, I really didn't feel like this had anything new to say. I was really expecting this to have a twist of adding modern toys, maybe like an iPad type of toy, something to really show that toys are evolving, the way kids play are evolving, and then we would have had a better discussion in this film. We would have had to see Woody acknowledge that toys are doing a little bit different now. No, this was just another a story where Woody just felt lost and confused. I've seen these movies 3 times now. I've seen this existential crisis from Woody. Did I need it again? That's where I was saying I really didn't feel like this had a lot to add to the mythos or a lot to say personally as a movie. Toy Story 4 follows Woody as he's having another crisis in his life. He's trying to figure out what he's going to do as a toy now that Bonnie's not playing with him. He had his life with Andy, now he's trying to figure himself out with Bonnie, but she's changing and she's having new toys to play with, like Forky, a spork that she makes into a toy. I relate to that a lot. I did make toys like that a lot. I've even made my mother search for a toy when I lost it, and even though it was just a paper bag, it meant a lot. So I get the Bonnie story in this, and I understand where Woody's like, okay, we need to protect Forky because it's all that matters to Bonnie right now, but there's more to it. We know that Woody's having his own insecurities, so then he goes on a journey because Forky's trying to go on a journey through his life, just admitting that he's trash, he doesn't belong here, so he jumps out of the car during a family trip, and Woody goes after him, and that goes into a journey where they meet Bo Peep. We see the new villainous Gabby, and then Buzz has to go try to meet up with them. There's so many toys moving around in this movie. There's a lot that happens, but again, it felt like a lot that we've seen before. There was a lot of homages. There's still a couple new moments to it. I think there was a lot of stuff to do with that antique shop. I thought it was really fun to be in there, but it did make the movie feel a little smaller scale. For Toy Story 4, for what should have been the new conclusion of the franchise, it did feel smaller in that way. Going to the antique store, as much as they had some fun things to do in there, I felt like it limited the scope of this movie. Bo Peep kept talking about we should see the the world. It's so big, it's so vast, but we saw such a small part of that. We saw such a little moment in the Toy Story universe that I wanted another story like I thought 2, or like I thought Toy Story 3 expanded. It had a little bit more of a journey to do. This one felt such smaller compared to the other ones. With a running time of only an hour and 40 minutes, I thought they introduced a lot of characters in this. For something that's supposed to be the new conclusion to the franchise, we had a lot of new faces, but I loved them. We had Ducky and Bunny, the new Key and Peele characters, Duke Kaboom, played by Keanu Reeves, Gabby with Christina Hendricks, and then the piece de resistance, Forky. Tony Hale owns this movie. I enjoyed his Forky so much. A character, during those first trailers, I was a little nervous. I was like, oh god, the Forky character. But he was so enjoyable. He had a lot to say, he had a lot to do. I had a great time with his character. I liked his interactions with Gabby. I thought he brought like something human out of that character and really grounded her from something this typical villain in these franchises. He really gave her some depth. I love that I love his relationship with Woody. I even loved seeing him with the other toys, like the typical Bonnie gang of toys now. I thought that was so cool to see all these new characters introduced so well. But then I feel like I need a Toy Story 5 because I saw all these new characters for such a limited time. It was such a ride with the old school. We had Bo Peep, Jessie, Buzz, like we had a lot of these characters, though we underused Jessie again. Well, anyways, but yeah, we had all these characters that we spent with the older ones, and then trying to introduce these new ones that are so cool, it did feel torn. I did feel like I wanted to go one way or the other. Either start a whole new chapter or finish this old chapter off. They tried to do both at one time, and I don't think they succeeded very well at that. But what they did succeed at is this beautiful animation, the best looking Toy Story movie, and one of the best, most realistic Pixar movies I have seen in quite some time. I was just blown away. Even if I was bored with a scene, I was just kind of like, oh, I hope this would end. I would like drift off and look at like the textures of the antique shop. I would look at the sand in that sandbox we had a preview of. I would see the rain in the beginning. Oh, that beginning is gorgeous. I would see the rain and just go, wow. This is stunning. A beautiful piece. Like, I really even love the texture on the toys. I do think the toys looked the most cartoony. You could tell they weren't as real. But when you got to like see those little scratches, the fingerprints on Woody, the cracks or the scratches on Bo Peep's like porcelain, such beautiful like attention to detail, and it really added that extra layer. That's what makes this movie almost impossible for me to be like, I have like not great feelings on. As much as I don't love the plot of this movie, I love the animation, and that rises it so high. Such a great Pixar animation where they like don't feel as inventive in the story. Their animation forever feels like it's progressing forward. I feel like I'm spinning my wheels here, kind of repeating myself, and I don't want to be like the Toy Story franchise and just repeat myself over and over again. Sorry, that was shade, but I'm just kidding. No, I really did enjoy this movie for what it was. I do wish that it was a little bit more explosive. I wish it had more of a bigger scope, a bigger scale, because then it would feel like either a conclusion to the old school or a start of the new school, and I don't feel like it was either. But overall, I think this was a highly beautifully like animated film. The camera work was top notch. This is a good piece. I don't feel like it's a cash grab. I do think they took risks trying to redo a franchise that felt so concluded, and I do feel like, you know, they're like, we're gonna make money, but I don't think Disney like banked on this like they are something like Lion King, that I do think they're gonna be like, nostalgia's gonna carry us over. I do think they risked a little bit something with Toy Story, and it slightly paid off. I had a good time. I wouldn't say I hated my time watching Toy Story 4, but what did you think of this movie? What did you think of this review? Let me know everything down in the comments below. I want to know your feelings. Are you a big Toy Story fan? If you're a Disney mark, I'm sorry for insulting you so many times here. Let me know your feelings. Make sure you give me a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel because I make videos like this every single week. Thank you so much for tuning into my video, and let's talk about Toy Story below.